All right, welcome to the JBL Challenger Series, Cup Series race number 4 out of 27 here at Las Vegas. At Las Vegas for the second time. This is our second race at Las Vegas until we head to Michigan next week. On the pole, we've got Keaton Cox, followed by Ross Campoli on the outside. This race is 135 laps with stage breaks at laps 50 and lap 100. I'm going to let this thing play out here. I won't give too much commentary, but these guys are going to be trying to save tires. They have enough fuel to make it to the end of the stage, but this is going to be a tire race, so you'll see that come to fruition here at the end as well. All right, green flag, here they go. You see here Keaton taking a kind of a lead over the rest of the pack. He's not worried about using up the tires at this point, it seems like. Behind him we've got Jaden Mazel, also a pretty aggressive driver as you'll see here in this race. Jaden may be looking to make a move on Keaton into turn 3. These two have broken off from the rest of the pack. We'll go back to the 88 in the JBL car, leading that second pack, followed by Hunter Wellborn. Hunter's making a move on the inside, coming out of turn 4. Bryce is going to let him by. You'll notice it's the 51 car paint that is the 88 car number. It's my car right there. I'm talking in third person for whatever reason. Just deal with that. You'll see that I am saving tire here. I don't care if anyone goes around me. My teammate Roger back there in his number 7 car is also doing the same thing. And, you'll see how that plays out towards the end. Let's go back to the leaders up here. See what they got going on. While these two are battling it out, the second pack is focused on saving tires, but these guys are building a lead on that second pack that needs to be accounted for. You don't want to save too much and then end up not having the time delta at the end to be able to make it up. See as Jaden is, for lack of a better term, sending it into the corner. Not really saving much tire. Caution's coming out here. This is the one and only caution for the stage. We had some drivers get separated from the field, so we wanted to re-rack this and get everybody caught back up. fast forward through this. Pit stops, everybody taking 4 tires for the most part to make it another 40 laps to lap 50, the first stage end. All right, they're lining it back up. Looks like we've got Brandon Birch leading it on the inside. I don't think he took tires. Got him up on the front row. All right, let's take it. At this point, most of these drivers are thinking, I got to make it to lap 50 somehow. I have the fuel to do it, but I don't have the tires to do it unless I save a whole heck of a lot. So right now in their minds, they're thinking about, do I try to burn these things up and make a pit stop and try to grab 4 tires and split the stage up that way, or do I try to take it easy on these tires, make it all the way 40 laps on 133-degree track temperature at Las Vegas? Easier said than done. There's that number 7 car, Roger Saucier. Made up some track position on pit road with a good pit stop. But Roger knows to save those tires. That's his strategy, along with my car, the 88. We're just falling back here, letting off on corner entry and letting our car ride up out of the corner exit to try to save tire. Watch the throttle as he goes in, letting off. Once he's applied maximum wheel input, he won't really go beyond that point. Steve Darling getting a little loose there. Roger making a move on the inside. Steve's still getting loose. These fresh tires definitely make your car a little unstable at first. You gotta let these things heat up. Give Steve a push here. This is the in-car view from my car. At this point, Keaton and Jaden. Yep, Keaton and Jaden. We've got a pretty nice lead at this point. These guys are really racing it out up here, for better or for worse, for the stage. Javon in the wall. Keaton has a tendency to get up on this high line as a kind of a tire saving method. It did work out for him for most of the race. So there's a couple different strategies you can use. You can ride that low side, you can ride the middle. Basically, for the most part, if you're behind someone, you want to try to get out from directly behind them so that way you can keep the downforce on the car, help you save some more tire. Jaden on the inside making a move on Keaton. So while these guys are racing it out up here, we've got our second pack led by Hunter Wellborn and Roger Saucier. Ooh, car on the wall. It's Steve, I think. Number 10 car. Sebastian. Leaders are coming up on Brandon Birch. The 34 car. Brandon was having some trouble. His car was pretty loose with the fresh tires, and he had some issues controlling it. Javon's still getting into that wall. These guys are sticking to that high line. Meanwhile, in the second pack, Roger with a big let off. Once that car grabs the bottom, he gets back on the throttle partially and rides it out. Slow roll of throttle on corner exit. Just letting the car right up out of the corner. Biggest thing is to not put more wheel input into it than you need to make the corner. You see that smooth. Once you're locked onto that white line, you never put more wheel input into it than it took to get down there. And let the car naturally come up. Alright, let's get back to the leaders. These guys are still racing it out up here. Coming around to lap 25, halfway through the first stage, Keaton Cox leads us. And they finally caught up to Brandon Birch. Brandon's going to yield on the inside, let those leaders go. That 68 right there is currently a lap car of Steve Darling. But he's sticking up there trying to stay with the leaders and figure out the line of the track. Driven wall, Keaton taking advantage of that. If you'll notice, Keaton's led a large majority of the laps so far. We do award points for laps led, and most laps led. So if you lead a lap, you get 1 point. You get the most laps led, you get 5 points. So you might be shooting for that as a strategy for the points race, at the expense of, say, maybe a stage win, with the tire strategy coming into play. These guys still racing each other out. Here comes Siobhan with a big run. See if he does anything with it. Second pack. Thinning out a little bit as the tire wear is starting to become a factor this late into the run. Let's go to my inboard camera. Let's see what the tire saving strategy still looks like. Completely off the gas. Smooth wheel input, rolling on the throttle. Let the car right up out of the corner. And you can see those leaders in turn 3 and 4 starting to get bigger on that windscreen. At this point of the race, I think we were about 5 or 6 seconds back. Quickly gaining at this point because of the tire saving. The question is it enough? And 19 laps to do it. Back up at the lead pack. This is Steve. Oh, I believe Jaden already pit. Jaden decided to get tires. Or Javon, I'm sorry. Javon Thompson went ahead and pit. You see tire saving isn't much of the strategy at the moment. Up here at the front, these guys are really burning them up, sending it in on the corner entry, forcing the car through the corner. That's a little too much right there. Driving Keaton up into the wall. I'm sure he didn't appreciate that. Here at Las Vegas, you gotta know when to give it up. Get yourself to regroup. And make a clean pass. This is a little too aggressive at this point of the race, in my opinion. See how he's riding that white line, getting himself pretty loose right there. That white line will do that to you. You gotta either choose to be above it or below it. Alright, back with Roger and myself. We've cut the lead down to about 4.5 seconds. And we're working together, drafting together. I'm pushing him as much as I can when the opportunity presents itself. And they're starting to roll more off of the corner aggressively, a little bit later throttle cut on corner entry. And again, we are good on fuel until the end of the stage. There's no reason to think about pitting for fuel. We're just trying to extend the tire life. Here comes Javon with fresh tires. Much faster than we are, but he is a lap down, so we're not going to be able to make that much time up before the stage ends. We're taking tires, pitting it all already with a bad strategy for this stage. Keaton and Jaden still racing it out for the lead. These guys have been racing for the last 40 laps. And it's impressive they've kept the gap this high because he was pushing that hard that those tires would be completely worn out, but they found a way to make it last. Coming around to lap 39, 11 laps till the stage end. 4.1 seconds back to Roger. I'm sure at this point they're kind of looking at that time delta and trying to figure out how hard they need to push or if they're in a good position to win the stage. That lead's already cut down to 3.7 seconds. This is where that time really starts to make itself known in the tire wear. These drivers are on about 30, almost 30 laps of tire at this point. Track temp's 135 degrees Fahrenheit. Javon has already gone past the leaders on fresh tires. 29 seconds back. And you can't make up 29 seconds even on fresh tires. We'll see Roger and myself start to make our way into the camera view. 3 seconds back at this point, with 7 laps until the end of the stage. Jaden's not giving Keaton as much of a battle at this point. Looks like Jaden's fallen off a bit. Keaton's still rolling in that high line. That seems to be working for him as a strategy. .7 seconds back from the leaders at this point. Time's running out, so myself and Roger, we start pushing hard. At the same time, we do have 35 laps on the tires, so there's only so much that you can give it, but we're trying to give it everything it has left. No point in saving anything now. See Keaton and Jaden once again getting side by side up there. That's going to help us. At this point, I kind of feel like my tires are a bit better than Roger's, so I take the position to try to lead us up there. 2.4 seconds back with coming to 3 to go. These guys are still side by side up here in the lead. Gap is under 2 seconds at this point. Sebastian lap car is looking to get out of the way of the leaders. Riding that line. Thank you for yielding. Two to go. One and a half seconds back. So earlier when Jaden had fallen off of Keaton, it seemed like he had reached the limit of his tire, but maybe what he was doing was saving his tire from this point of the stage. Brandon Birch going around with the fresh tires much faster than the leaders in that situation. I think on the last lap of the stage, I would probably let the leaders race it out instead of getting involved, but less than a second, needed another couple laps. At the stage, Jaden Mazzell takes that first stage win. Alright, let's fast forward this. At this point, these drivers are going to come in and get 4 tires, full fuel for the next stage, which ends at lap 100. Let's see how the order is when they come out of pit road. Ooh, Jaden overshoots the box a little bit. Everybody's getting 4 tires. Roger's already out. Keaton wins the race off pit road. Myself second, Roger third. All right. We've got cars that are a lap down going around on the outside, getting wave arounds. At every stage, we do catch everybody up. All right. Here in the JBL Challenger Cup Series, the way we do this is 5 laps, green flag, racing at the start of every stage. So no matter what happens on track, if these drivers wreck, a caution will not come out. They have to make it currently to lap 59 to reach that 5-lap caution. So everybody's trying to keep it clean right now. Ooh. Couple cars getting very close to back. At this point, Roger and myself have decided that we do not want to lose the leaders, as we did last time in the last stage. We didn't have enough time to build the delta back. Obviously, we get the stage win, so we said as hard as they push, we'll go ahead and push and use our tire strategy, because we know that we can save a little better. Ross Campoli was the winner of the last Las Vegas race. He knows how to run at this track for sure. Although these temperatures are much hotter than what we experienced at the other Vegas race. So a little bit different of a situation. Take a look at Brandon's car, in-car view. He's really sending it into that corner. He's turning the wheel more than the car really could give him. He didn't set up the corner entry at all. Just burning the tire up. Burning the tire. This is just straight up burning the tire. Sebastian wanted to go low. Brandon pushes him out of the way. Continuing to burn the tire up. At this point, he's out of contention for this stage. He can't burn the tire up. Expect to make it to the end. Got a little bit of action up here with the leaders. This is my in-car view. At this point, it's trying to save the tire like crazy. See, once you get down to that white line, you just let it roll out. No additional wheel input, no tire scrubbing, or at least minimizing it. Not trying to get a run on anybody. You have the draft to work yourself up there if you need to, but now's not the time to be trying to send it. Now's the time to conserve and let these guys race it out, feel like they need to do something ahead of you. See, right there, I could have taken Hunter on the outside, but I chose to just let myself get back to the low line and save it for the end of the stage, what matters. So the field's basically broken up into two packs at this point. Front pack and second wheel pack. Those guys are all kind of together. And you notice the ones in the front are actually, doing some tire saving. They're just, working to their advantage of being in the draft together, and that backpack are generally kind of forcing it, I would say. Anchors in the wall. You see Roger up here in the 7 car on the bottom, leading the bottom line. He's also saving tire. He's not pushing that car at all, but he's maintaining, a position at the front. He's driving smartly. Keaton's still making use of that high line. It's worked out for him so far. At this point, I've decided that I I have the run to get past Hunter, so I'll go ahead and take that. As the run goes on, eventually they'll just kind of give you the positions. Vaughn's next up. Jaden's still up here in the front back. Ooh, Keaton up in the wall. Still can't get off that wall. Velcro. Ryder's taking a lead to lead us to lap 68. Laps in the stage. Long way to go on a set of tires from this point. So any extra pushing, any extra wheel inputs come back and bite them. So you have to try to keep yourself from doing that. As much as it's painful to not pull away or gain positions, you cannot force it at this point in the stage. Keaton's in car gear. He's not putting really too much more wheel input than is required to make the corner. Not trying to force the issue. That's why Keaton's found himself at the front. Finish the whole race. He's made that high line work for him. It's not something I would try. Just because I haven't done it, and I like the low line, but he made it work. See how Javon's taking these corners. Good corner. He's trying to stay out of being directly behind Roger. If you're directly behind the car in front of you, you're going to get pretty tight. So riding to the outside or inside of that car is going to allow you to maintain your downforce through the corner and continue to have grip and not eat up the tire too much. Javon breaking up a little bit. If we take a look at that secondary pack, we see Ross is now leading it with 3.6 seconds back from the leader. Ross running a very good line through that corner. You can tell that his tires are a little bit more worn out than the leaders at this point. He's having to push to try to get back up to them. He doesn't have the draft to help. It's a little difficult to get that car to lock onto that white line. But I believe Roger does end up gaining time on the leaders at the end of the stitch. See if that works. 25 laps to go in the stage. These drivers are starting to feel like they might need to make a move, but it is still not time to do anything more than save a tire. Jaden hanging on to that top spot. I'm not so sure if he led the most laps or Keaton at this point. Just check the scoreboard. Keaton did end up with the most laps led. So he will be awarded 5 points for that. Ross, 3.3 seconds back. Slowly but surely, he's separated himself from that second pack. He's trying to catch up to the top pack, but it might be too late. Too much tire that's had to be burned to make up the time. Ross is one of those, as if he was in that front pack to start out the stage restart, and would have stayed right there. Behind him, Jonah Cross taking into the pit road. He has chosen to get some tires. He's given up on the set that he has. He says no more. Steve Dillon also making the same choice. Ken Jones sitting 11 seconds back. Ben, 3.8. Hunter's a lap down on fresh tires, so he is moving. Here he goes to pass Brandon. And then back up to Ross, sitting still at 3.3 seconds back from the leaders with 19 laps to go on the stage. Let's check out these guys. They're still racing it out, but at the same time still saving tire. Mostly attempting to not be directly behind the car in front of them. They're not so much racing, they're trying to maintain downforce. Car is losing it a little bit. Javon into the wall. Those tires have given up. You see how loose Javon's getting. So much tire scrubbing. Just doesn't have much left in it. Keaton powering off the corner exit. He's got a good run. Let's see if he does something with it. Jaden's falling back about a second on the leaders. Ross still sitting about 3.4 seconds back. And Ben Doobie 10 seconds back. This field has really spread out at this point. Alright, now with about 14 laps left in the stage, we decide to start picking it up a little bit using that tire that we've saved. Ooh, Jaden getting a bit loose off of turn 2. Saves it, good save. Getting tight, coming out of 4. Roger and myself decide to take advantage of that and gain the position. Hunter with a huge run sending it into turn 1 and 2. Makes it stick. Can we get that position on Jaden? Looks like he will. And I decide to let him have it since he is on a run. He's a lap down on new tires, so he's more than welcome to go by. Much faster than our cars at this point. Right around Roger. You see the difference between new tires and old tires. It's Roger. But at the same time, Hunter is now on the lead lap, but also 30 seconds back. And not enough time to gain 30 seconds. 11 laps. Keaton's still lurking at 0.6 seconds back, but I'm not sure if he has the tire to make the run at this point. Only 10 laps to go on the stage. Making our way up onto lap traffic with Sebastian Castro. He is on old tires, so should be able to make a pass here. Yep, Sebastian does yield for the leaders, which is appreciated. He's still in the wall. Keaton is falling back 1.5 seconds back to Javon. I think those guys have used up what they had at this point. And at this stage, it seems like this is Roger and Bryce's race to finish out. Jaden's falling off a little bit. Next 9 laps, we're going to ride onto my car and take a look at how I did with Roger in front of me with good tires. I think at this point we're pretty evenly matched, but I think my tires are a little better, and I think I can maybe get a run on him for the stage. Let's see how it turns out. At this point, you might be wondering, why am I staying so far off of him? Because we're coming up to the stage. Maybe I want to get on him and try to make a move, but it's still too early. We really only have enough tire for maybe 1 or 2 laps of hard racing at this point. I'm still trying to find a balance between staying about 0.2, 0.3 seconds behind him, still within a heavy draft window, and also still trying to save some tire, at least a little more so than he is able to do. You see I'm getting up on him, but I want to try to get the downforce here. I am making a move. I'm getting too tight, backing out of it. So whatever I do, I try to either stay inside or outside of him to try to get the car to stick. Going down below that apron is kind of a slippery slope because, yes, he will be faster, but it does eat up the tire a bit more. So I let him do that. I don't worry about not being in the draft in that moment. Letting the car roll up as high as I can off the corner exit to save the tire. Right here, I'm noticing that I can get on the gas just a second before he can, it seems like. So I take this run, see if I can do something with it. I'm going to shoot for the inside, but I don't have the tire to stick it, so I have to back out a bit. Still right on him. I want to try to get him this time, send it in a bit more. Still don't have the tire to do it. I have to back out. 2 laps to go on the stage. At this point, I've given up on the inside. I won't have the tire to be able to do it. So that logically leaves the only other option as the outside. Right here, I'm thinking, all right, I saved all this tire. I might as well use it up. So at this point, I'm setting it up for the white flag of the stage. Huge run coming. Send it in on the outside. Try to get a bit of side draft going. At this point, I'm full throttle. If it sticks, it sticks. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Good corner exit to get the speed down the backstretch. And take it home for the stage win, stage 2. Let's go ahead and fast forward into the pit stops. Now we're getting into the final stage of the race. We are cautions as necessary at this point. The only catch is that the leader has to make it 1 lap around the track. Wave around's going around on the outside. Let's see how we exit here. Everybody getting 4 tires. Roger misses the box, it looks like, a little bit. So does Jonah. I maintain position. Jaden looks like he comes out second. All right. All right, at this point, everyone's on the lead lap. Everybody knows that this is it, 30 laps. We do have 3 green-white cautions in the books if we need them, but with this group, I don't think we will. Let's see how this plays out. Right here I am. Myself and Roger are kind of deciding whether to push or let someone else take the lead, and very early it seems like Jade not ready to take some time off of our hands, get a delta built up. We're 3 wide coming out of turn 4. I don't want to let the position up so easy just as a principle at this point in the race, but sometimes you got to know when to give. Right here I live it quite a bit and let these guys take it. I'm totally okay with Keaton and Jaden taking off at this point, using up that tire, because I have to cover for the fact that, you know, with this core group of drivers, we don't wreck all too often once we're spread apart. And there's a good chance we might go green. So if we do, that's a tire saving situation. And if we don't go green, then, well, I'll just go get tires and burn them up if the situation presents itself that way. And as the rest of the race displayed, Keaton and Jaden racing it out from the top spot. I have no idea how these guys raced each other for so long and maintained the tire that they did. There's Ross sitting in 5th position, waiting in the shadows for something to happen. Sebastian finds himself about 5.5 seconds back. Must have gotten loose. Ken Jones, Birch, Ben and Steve, Javon, Jonah, Hunter, Roger, myself. Field's starting to stretch out at this point. Everybody kind of is realizing that this is probably going to be a green flag run. Hunter's car. Racing these guys for the top spot at this point of the race. Almost 20 laps to go. Sending it on the inside a little bit. You got to be imagining what these drivers are thinking as far as predicting the rest of the race. Maybe Hunter's thinking that we're going to have caution and he wants to be in. He needs to be in front of the field so that way we can hit. He can try to grab tires and set himself up for a better restart. You'll see Roger has adopted the high line simply because no one else is up there. So he's getting a lot of grip, maintaining downforce on the front of his car to get the car to turn without too much tire scrubbing. Not because the high line is faster, just because no one else is up there. You see Ross following a similar line as Roger. Ross might be trying to set himself up for a run at the end when it matters. I'm used to the inside, so whenever the opportunity is there, I'm on the inside of the tire. In this situation, if you see my JBL car, the inside's occupied, so I don't want to be directly behind Hunter, so I'm right in the middle. And then opposite, I'll go inside because Hunter's right. Ooh, Hunter's in the wall. Ken Jones sitting up here in the top 5 in contention. Haven't heard his name most of the race, but he made his way up here when it matters most. And Jaden Mazzell will not get away from the front pack. Somehow he's gotten himself in front of this race for the entire race, even with the aggressive driving style. Same thing with Hunter. You've kind of seen his name up at the front most of the race. Finding himself a lap down once or twice, though. Alright, the next 5 laps I'm going to do from Jaden's cockpit. Let's see what he's got going on. At this point, Roger and I have decided we have 10 laps to go, so it's time to use the tire that we've saved. At least bump up the percentage of it that we're trying to use. Incrementally, as the laps wind down, we're going to use more and more of it. Right now I'm just kind of toying with Keaton, seeing where he goes on the track. I'm up there in second position. Just trying to stay out from being directly behind him. Jaden looking to kind of send it into turn 3, make a move on Roger. Doesn't have the tire for it, he has to back out. Roger will end up with the exiting speed. Oh. That's a little too much right there. Could have caused an accident. Just does not have the tire going into the corner and out of turn 4. At this point, I'm trying to see if I can actually make a move on Keaton. Gauge where he's at with his car. There were 1 or 2 spins, solo spins, at the back of the pack at this point of the race, but we do not call cautions for solo spins. They have to be a danger to other drivers on the track, meaning they have to be coming up on track, stuck on the track, that sort of thing, for us to call a single car incident. So stay green at this point. And around the 6 laps to go of the race. Trying to get a little side draft work for me without taking it out. That's successful. Send it into turn 1 a little harder than usual. Power out. And here Roger rides the draft to take care of Keaton on the outside. Keaton pulls back. Coming out of 4, Roger's got the momentum on the front stretch. Once again, making that side draft of the Gen-6 work for him. So at this point of the race, it's basically between me and Roger. Keaton and Jaden have closely used up their tire, in my opinion. Roger and Keaton getting very friendly. Very friendly. Is that Jaden? Need to take a look at this. Jaden sends it to the inside. Keaton gets look at the save. Contact on the outside. Keaton's stuck and smushed. Look at the wheel movement. Saves it coming out of turn 4. That's good driving right there. That could have been the end of his race easily. Jaden with an incredibly aggressive move, IndyCar style, sending it into turn 3 without any expectation that Keaton would give him the space, but Keaton is a good driver. He knows what he's doing, so he did. If you've noticed, I'm starting to pull away at the front while these guys race it out. Roger more than likely getting a little impatient with Jaden. Jaden probably not having a tire. Roger's still trying to make that high side work. That was a much smoother corner by Jaden, which is interesting because that's probably where you'd want to be pushing with 2 laps to go. Yeah, it's like the strategy's flipped for some reason here. Maybe he just doesn't have the tire to send it as much as he was able to earlier. And Roger trying to hold on to what he's got. Ross holding on to 5th, 3.5 seconds back. Coming to the checkered flag. The 88 car for some reason with the 55, 51 paint. So that ends the Las Vegas race number 4 for the JBL Challenger Cup Series. First place, myself, Bryce Hinton. Second place, Jaden Mizell. Third place, Roger Saucier. Fourth place, Keaton Cox. And fifth, Ross Campoli. And then, of course, at the end of the race, we got to burn it down, wreck the leader, as is tradition. Oh, God. All right, thanks for watching. Next week, we go to Michigan. Next 2 weeks, we go to Michigan. There should be some exciting races, a lot of good learning how to run the track, another technical track. You can't just send it at Michigan. You have to know how to drive at that place, so should be some good racing going on. We'll catch you next time on the JBL Challenger Cup Series.